All right, hello, and welcome back to the Omni Talk Fast 5. It's October 4th, 2019. It's 45 degrees here in balmy Minneapolis.
It's also 45 degrees in this studio.
Yeah.
It keeps us nice and awake.
The heat is on in Third House. The heat is on.
Chris has been practicing that joke for the last 10 minutes for everyone
Let's not pretend.
All right,
came.
Let's go way back and see how millennial are you. Who sang "The Heat Is On" from Beverly Hills Cop?
Oh, I know this.
He is no longer alive, by the way, either.
Yeah, I know.
Which is really sad.
Oh my God! You know why I know?
I know why you know, actually.
Because Will Ferrell played him on Saturday Night Live, not because I remember the
He did?
actual.
I don't remember
God!
that.
Didn't you ever see that skit? It was amazing. The H is O.
I don't remember that, but do you know who it is?
I can't remember.
It's one of
his
your
name.
favorite bands of all time. He was one of the frontmen of one of the your favorite bands of
Kenny
all time.
Loggins.
No, Glenn Fry. Of
Glenn
the
Fry.
Eagles.
Oh yeah.
Because you love the Eagles.
Oh God. Send me
We gotta
away.
bring back How
Hotel
Millennial Are
California.
You?
Yeah, right. We do. We haven't done that. We still do it on the Spotlight series, but yeah. So exciting news. How have you guys been? You guys been good? Carter, do you even know who the Eagles are?
Yeah, I know of their legacy. I can't say
he
that.
saw the documentary on Netflix, but does
It was
not
shot
care.
in a 4:3, not even 16:9. It was kind of weird. I had to turn it off.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Oh man, we've got some exciting news. We had an intern start with us this week.
Oh yeah.
Emma the intern helped us prepare all of what you see today.
That's
so
right.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Emma.
Thanks, Emma. Hope you're listening. We're excited to have her on board, our first official Third House intern from the University of Minnesota. Holla. That is awesome.
My favorite thing about Emma is she actually works also in retail. So I'm super excited to
Yes.
have that kind of first world experience kind of come into the content. I think it's important to this whole thing because I think at times we live in this world where we're getting a little disconnected from it. Let's say, I mean, like the front lines in that case.
Right, no,
but
it's the hardest part.
I think it'll be really fun to have that perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she works at the Mall of America too. That's
Very stylish
yeah.
boots on the ground.
Yeah, very stylish boots on the ground. So yeah, you guys ready to get to the news this week?
Let's do it.
All right, first let's start with an announcement from our sponsor. Of course, as always, the OmniTalk Fast 5 is sponsored by Trigo. Trigo provides checkout-free technology that sets your customer free. Trigo's network of ceiling-mounted cameras sees what no other systems can see. It creates a 3D image of retailers' shop floor environments and maps the movement of every object as consumers shop. Its proprietary algorithms and neural networks enable a frictionless shopping experience where consumers can enter the store, pick, and leave. All right, let's get to it. Who's starting us off? Is it me?
You.
Oh my
you are
gosh,
starting
good,
us off
because I
today.
am high energy here if you're watching at home on YouTube with my Shop Talk mug.
My God.
All right.
There's a picture of Chris on his Shop
There
Talk
it is.
mug.
Can everybody see that? Can
There you
see
go.
that
There
in
it
the
goes.
camera?
Now
That
you can
car
see
right
it.
up,
Perfect.
My big caricature.
All right, story number 1.
I'm a
Let's get to
caricature of
it.
my former self. All right. Story number 1. Amazon is even closer to opening up a new grocery chain. That's right. According to Canadian Grocer and the Wall Street Journal, Amazon has reportedly signed more than a dozen leases in the Los Angeles area. Again, giving likely signs that the company plans to move forward with a new chain of grocery stores. The first stores are likely to be set in densely populated suburban areas, with other locations in Chicago and Philadelphia supposedly in the works. Now, this again begets the question. They bought Whole Foods, but it ain't about Whole Foods. It's about, as I like to call it, the xenomorph between Whole Foods and Amazon, like the scene in Aliens when they're all sitting around the table, everybody's happy, excited, they think nothing's wrong, and all of a sudden, baby bursts out of John Hurt's belly, everyone starts screaming, only in this case, the alien popping out of the belly is not a movie, it's real life, and it has Jeff Bezos' head on it in terms of what this could mean for the grocery industry. Okay, I'm exuberant. What do you guys think?
These are new builds, right? We're thinking brand new builds, a whole kind of xenomorph. I'm not really familiar with that term, but I think
Is anyone?
no one is. That's fine. I think at the end of the day, like we look at what potentially could come from all the learnings from Whole Foods, slammed together with all the learnings that Amazon has from the legacy that they've created, and you're going to see something that doesn't look like a traditional grocery store. I think you're going to see a mix of what Whole Foods is today, what maybe Target Drive Up is starting to revolutionize some of their stores with, all slammed together into this urban environment that's optimized for everything that Amazon is providing to consumers, while still providing the experience that people want with grocery.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great, especially to see what else happens outside of I'm more excited for what happens outside of the store footprint itself. I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially going into these densely populated urban areas, for them to expand more delivery services and really give a lot of the other grocery stores a run for their money. However, guys, I'm a little nervous. My Amazon red flag thing is making
Are
me.
you tinfoil hatting again?
I'm kind of
on
tinfoil
this one?
hatting.
Why?
Just because I think we all know that Amazon's going to do this so well. And what does that mean? Like, how many people are going to go out of business because they're doing this really well? It's going to end some grocery chains.
Is a lot a number? I think that's where we're headed.
That's what I mean.
No, I mean, I think you're right. That's what the part of this that I keep hitting hard, that I want to hit again, just because I think it was a motif in what you guys said, but I want to bring it more explicitly out. Whole Foods is great, but Whole Foods is really high-priced stuff. But at the same time, Amazon has been experimenting with how to deliver that product very, very quickly to their Prime members. You open your own grocery chain with mass market products, like things you can't find at a Whole Foods, like Doritos, like regular old diapers and everything else.
The things that people want.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
The things that people want at a value in their budget, and they know how to do the delivery combination with that. I mean, yeah, where else does this go? I think, Ann, your point's right. Is that bad? Is that bad? What do you think that's bad?
I look
It's a
at
good conversation.
Well, I'm looking at it from the positive side of
Yeah.
like now all of a sudden you have this infrastructure really saturated throughout the entire country, and the potential of innovating on top of that with the new tools now at play are really interesting. So for me, it's more like, all right, well, they're getting good at delivery, they're getting good at an in-store experience maybe with Whole Foods, but what's those now that you have all of these physical locations, like what does a convenience store in the front of the store look like, or what does what's possible now, the fact that they're able to now expand their infrastructure in this type of way.
Yeah. What happened to the Seattle store that they were rumored to be opening? Because that was
Not sure yet.
Remember
Amazon
license plate
Go
readers
Yeah, it
and
was
everything like that?
10,000
Yeah,
square feet, 12,000
yeah.
square feet with a back room. Don't know. We'll still see. I mean, who knows? I mean, they always are running experiments. But at the end of the day, like, you're saving me money, as we just talked about. Oh, and by the way, you're also saving me time. As a retail idea, it's awesome. I don't know.
No one's
This is
disagreeing.
not the thing that scares me about Amazon of all the things we've
I
ever
guess
talked about.
I guess it's the more that Amazon is in my ears all the time, or on my finger,
Like
or
we talked
in
about
my-
last week,
yes,
right?
Or like if they become the grocery store now, and all of this, the whole industry is going to change because of if they do this as well as we think they will.
Right.
Like even the grocers that are trying to compete and they're partnering with other technology companies. Like Amazon's so far ahead of these guys. How is that going to be possible? And that's what I worry about. Amazon, they do amazing things, but man, are we going to have any other options?
So if this is in LA, as is posited, you're basically, what's coming through here is you have compassion for Ralph's.
I always have compassion for
Or
the
Cub
Ralphs of the
Foods,
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, I wonder if there is room potentially for,
Nothing wrong with that.
you look at potentially the corporate giant that's coming in, and I think some of the feedback that we heard just, not necessarily formally, but more from an opinion based of how, the Whole Foods experience potentially kind of lost its edge of the personalized service and the really high quality grocery. I wonder if there will be something that will be carved out, allowing mom and pop shops to specialize in, let's say, a certain category of produce. Now, I'm not trying to mitigate the fact that it's going to completely decimate some of those middle tier type
Right.
of retailers in terms of grocery, but I wonder if there's a way that specialty retail or specialty grocery can still have a spot to thrive in this.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just scared.
Well,
like
what-
it
I'm
scares
just
me.
scared.
And what other innovation comes off that? I think, Carter. I mean, I was talking with the Grocer Key guys who we've had on the podcast before, and at what point is there a new brand that develops around like how you shop for fresh meats and produce? Like, is there a fresh grocery experience that starts as a result of that none of us have conceived of yet? That's not Amazon's, ballywick, so to speak. Like,
Yeah.
that's not what they do. So that means that space is wide open for somebody else to innovate on.
If
Who's going to do it? We'll find out.
if those grocers can work with the suppliers at the same levels that an Amazon is capable of doing. Like there's a lot of trickle down effect that I think is going to happen as a result of this that we can't even begin to.
Yeah, it just bifurcates the whole
Imagine.
experience. But
Right.
anyway, story number 2.
All right,
Good discussion.
let's
We
get
are
off of my
humming.
terror. It is the month of Halloween, and Amazon is like my haunted house. Okay, so we're going next to story number 2. The Rue Guilt Group who many of you may know because of the flash sites Rue La La and Gilt Group. They have just been given a $280 million investment from Simon Malls. What Simon is asking of the Rue Gilt Group is to help them, the nation's largest shopping mall operator, launch a website for online shopping. So if you go to shoppremiumoutlets.com, the current site that they're operating, you can see the shopping experience isn't bad already. I checked it out this morning. Isn't a terrible shopping experience, but definitely could use some work. And so on Wednesday, Simon offered for a 50% stake in the Rue Gilt Group to have them take this online. So think about all of these outlet malls that Simon owns all over the country. Now you have all of that product, all of that unsold or overstock product that can now be sold in the online space in addition to all of their physical locations. I think this is a brilliant move. What do you guys think?
I think it's brilliant at its core. Like, I think the idea of it is really amazing. I think they're doing the right thing in terms of this investment. What worries me is understanding what the role of this .com can be in conjunction with their physical footprint. So you talk about a couple of really great things. You talk about inventory, unlocking inventory so that maybe you have that one piece of clothing that's at a great discount, but it's not here in your Albertville outlets or whoever owns that. But it's not here in the area where you're able to get it, and so you're able to connect kind of the two types of things. What I worry about, though, is the consumer experience, the experience online that's going to be needed in order for consumers to actually enjoy that process is an incredibly difficult thing to do. And I'm just concerned that they're going to try to bite off something that, fundamentally is correct, but the layer they wrap around it, the UI and the UX of the actual website is going to be so horrible and so hard to navigate.
How so?
Well, if you think about, right now, like one of the things I talk about a lot is like why Amazon is so powerful. It's not necessarily the back end like infrastructure of the whole thing. It's because they have spent years and years and millions of dollars to make sure that the .com, the app, the Echo, everything is perfect. And that's one of the reasons we just go there, because search is amazing on there. It's easy to find the buy button. We know how to do it. Our credit card information is saved. It's all good. And now we have this whole thing where we might not consumers don't like to go other platforms besides Amazon because you got to go register your account. You got to re-enter your credit card number. You have to do all these things. And usually these smaller companies don't necessarily have the infrastructure in order to build out the great user experience that Amazon has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on. Hence why Shopify is so amazing, is because they try to take a little bit of the weight off of like the small retailers and give them that. But I worry that, yes, at its core, this is going to be an amazing idea. However, are they going to realize the needs of the consumer today and build an experience that people actually want to be in?
Have you ever shopped Rue La La or Gilt Group? Did you ever shop
I haven't,
those sites?
no.
So
Long time ago.
Yeah, I guess I think you're right, Carter, and they do have a huge task at hand. However, Amazon is not great at apparel shopping.
So true.
And
it's
the
very
search,
true.
even though the search is great if you know exactly what you want to buy.
Oh, it's horrible.
But
Yeah.
when you're talking apparel and you're talking people, there's a significant market for this outlet mall shopping and for this consumer who doesn't care if I get the J brand jeans from last year, from this year. If I am now, what I love about this is that now I'm able to, I know my brands that I like, they carry the premium brands, and I can go now online, and instead of just shopping the traditional like Nordstrom rack, going to a Marshall's or to a TJ Maxx, now you have a whole world of product and an easy database to search. Like, even as it stands right now, it's still pretty great. The shopping experience is not bad. As someone who's shopped a Nordstrom rack or Saks Off Fifth kind of site, this off-price market, I think, this is going to be huge for them. They're going to be able to clear inventory. They're going to be able to reallocate resources at these outlet malls who are not as busy during the week when they don't have the high traffic like they do on the weekends. I think there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of efficiencies that are going to be found from this.
Well, can I make one quick comparison to
Yeah.
maybe debunk myself? So you brought up an interesting point of the value that these types of stores are bringing to the consumer is the thrill of the hunt and the potential great deal. Is that accurate, or am I coming.
I think it was at one point. I think now this is going to change that. Like
Right.
now you have, it's easier to find that
Sure.
good deal.
I just think if you look at the discount outlets, like if you look at,
Mm-hmm.
some of these, Nordstrom Rack or whatever, like their store is kind of potentially like this website's going to be. They're not focused on having it being the nicest store in the world, well lit, perfectly organized. That's kind of the thrill of the hunt a little bit if you think about it. And like, and you're shaking your head. I don't know if that's accurate. I'm just trying to think maybe there is a little bit of parallel here where consumers are going to have more grace, let's say, for not the most perfect online experience, knowing the fact that they're going to get the products they want at a
Yeah.
really good price.
I think so. I think I'll jump in here. I think a couple things. I love doing this, dude. God, I love doing this because I can just sit back and like any of us can do it too. We sit back, listen to the others to debate the issue, and then you kind of form your own opinion off it too, which is so fun. But I love the move for a couple reasons. One, I mean, I wrote about it's so funny because I wrote this exact thing in Forbes last week and somebody just did it. Like that is so cool. Like I was like, why don't malls make their own digital marketplaces? Because they're physical marketplaces already. Why don't they make digital ones? So they've just done it, right? That's really cool. The other thing that I didn't think about and that you just brought up, which is awesome, is this actually gives you, unlike Amazon, it actually gives you confidence in the quality of the products. Because the products and the companies available in that marketplace are all certified by those brands and companies that are in those marketplaces. So the stuff they're selling is good stuff. You don't have to worry about the counterfeits. You don't have to worry about the baloney.
You know it's coming
reviews.
from the
Yeah.
store you already trust. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of it and there's a lot of value. Now, Carter, I think you're bringing up good points too, because the Achilles heels to me are a couple fronts. Number one, I still think the UX on this is really hard. It's why there's never been an e-commerce model that's really worked for the treasure hunt bargain type deal. It's why we've talked about how TJX and those kinds of things and Costco even continue to be successful. It's hard to do from a UX design perspective. The closest thing that's been done is what these guys have really specialized on in the past, in my opinion, which is the deal buy. So e-commerce works great for deal buys. It's like, here's our hot thing. But when you're having to like treasure hunt or pick and pack of things that aren't stable in your assortment, and by stable, I mean like there consistently, it's hard for people to know how to find and browse what they want in that experience. So that part is tricky. It's not unsolvable, but it's hard. The second piece is, I think, coordinating that across all the purveyors in these marketplaces is still challenging. So you've got the logistical dynamics of that in terms of how inventory is going to get moved and coordinated, which I think is hard. And then third is, I think, Carter, what you said is also the physical architecture of this thing matters too. So the thing I see is like, I'm like $280 million. One, that seems like a lot of money. Like, do you really need to invest that much money to do what we're talking about? It might even make more sense to build it straight from the ground up, but I don't know. And then two, how are you combining the physical elements of this? How are you making more concierge services available at these types of malls? Like, where's the pickup points? Where's curbside? Are there locker services? Are we pooling any type of operational dynamics here at these malls for these retailers who are going to be selling their things on these websites? If that doesn't happen, a lot of this could fall flat because you could fall back into a bad situation with UX. You might not be given the speed and convenience of the user experience on the physical side. If you want to go there and just pick your stuff up quickly, there's a lot of things that could still go wrong with this, even though in principle, I like it.
I
Respond. Go for it.
I
You're
still
chomping
think
at the bit.
you guys keep talking about UX. You guys, the sites are not that bad, and there's not a lot of work to be like. It's
So
not.
why
it's-
has no one
I
done
think
TJX online?
They are. Marshall's just started a website
They just
last
started
week.
it, but why has no one done it well?
I think that the key thing here, you guys think about outlet malls and what they're selling. I can't tell you the exact percentage, but it's mostly apparel and footwear. You have your
100 yeah,
you have your
100%,
few
yeah.
like cooking stores or whatever in the
No,
mix.
you're right,
But
yeah.
like you guys, they're doing apparel well now, and it's not like it's not the one-off treasure hunt for the apparel as much as it is the other stuff that's in the Marshalls and TJ Maxx that make it hard.
You're right, and it's a little bit different than that stuff too. You're right,
Right.
to your point. And there's
So-
going to be more of it too. You're
Yeah.
playing the trend that there's going to be more stuff going to outlet as these businesses
Yeah.
go down. Yeah,
I just
no, keep,
that's
yeah.
that's my I think that your points are valid, both of you, but I think it's not as difficult to make this happen in a way that a person like me who will shop this site and who has shopped this site, like it's already not terrible. Like it can only go up from here. And now that I have access to so much more product, like the biggest disappointment when you're shopping Rulala or
Yeah.
Gilt or any of these sites
Yeah.
is that the product is not in my size or they run out fast.
Yep.
So now that I have access to what's in the physical stores and I don't have to go to an awful like outlet mall, I love it.
I think I'm with you. I mean, I know we're vehemently arguing this, especially if you're watching on YouTube, but fingers are pointed, everything. But like, I'm with you. I think it's the right investment to make. If anything, I would say, all right, guys, especially double down on what you're doing on the architecture side and the infrastructure side of the actual malls themselves. Get some people in here that can help you on the experience design side of how that should work. And make this thing work.
Yeah,
'Cause it could work, is what you're saying.
Yeah, the connection of all the physical stores is, I think, the hardest part of this. But I digress. Let's
And
go.
Simon, there may be people available for that. So
You,
just
know,
let us
you guys know who won't be shopping at these stores?
Who's that?
You.
LeBron James and Maverick Carter. LeBron James and Maverick Carter's brand Uninterrupted launched a new Nike sneaker collection and e-commerce store. So that's right. So Maverick and LeBron's media company, Uninterrupted, has hit a new milestone this week, announcing a new collaboration with Nike that will release on October 7th through Uninterrupted's newly launched e-commerce store. The collection, which will include Uninterrupted branded Air Force Ones and apparel items such as hoodies, socks, shorts, and hats. So the launch of this media company, the idea has all been around empowerment, and the foundation really is kind of based on that. So Maverick Carter states in the expansion of retail will also represent an expansion of how Uninterrupted sees itself as a role in promoting this type of empowerment. The releasing of the products and apparel is being used as a vehicle to further the emotional connection between consumers and the brand, especially through personalized products such as the Air Force Ones, as well as allow Maverick and LeBron and their audience to get to know each other better. Wow, that last line was
was a
was
mic drop.
quite unique.
Oh my God.
So here's the
This
deal.
is awesome.
Nike, Maverick Carter, LeBron James, new e-commerce environment. I love it. I absolutely love it. What do you
So
guys
cool.
think?
It's the Glossier of footwear.
It's
This is taking that model and like they're
Well,
going
it's
to blow it
beyond
up.
that. I think
yeah,
it's
going to
supercharged.
blow it up.
it's
yeah.
taking culture
Yeah.
and applying it with commerce in the background, and it's absolutely amazing. This is what I love about it, is that consumers are actually going to look to these icons and look to this platform for advice and for inspiration. And you know what? If you want to buy from them, it's there in the background. Glossier, right?
Yeah, I think it's taking the tech. The tech's getting to a level now where it's so reliable, or it will become so reliable that the actual authorities, whether it's an Emily Weiss or in reality, especially in the athletic world, like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, those guys, it's just going to be up to business managers to decide how they want to seed it and just make all this thing make all
What
these
they
things
wanna do with
available
all the money.
directly. Yeah, Ryan's toy review. I mean, like anybody can do this now, and this is, I mean, damn. I mean, this is like the shot heard around the world, in my opinion. This is a big deal. The sneaker's cool too.
Yeah, and,
Emma the intern loves it, by the way, for those listening.
here's the thing. If we resume back to story number 2 we were just talking about,
Yep.
like, it sounds like kind of we're talking out of both sides of our mouth here a little bit, but I think at the end of the day, the purpose of the story is the fact that they have a brand that's instantly loved and instantly notable, and they're turning on e-commerce in the background and doing it probably pretty efficiently.
Yeah, and you're still not I still don't think you're gonna do this kind of stuff for mass, consumption.
No.
Like this is still like high-end premium consumption, but which many people will aspire to.
Totally.
Don't get me wrong. So it's still a mass appeal,
It's a completely different product.
but there's still a lot of retail to be done through
Right.
other means.
What is also interesting, I mean, you're going to have to help me because my sports knowledge is very limited. But so they
It's
got
an overstatement.
they got a lawmaker in California to sign the bill on their show. Did you see that? So that college athletes can get money from their name and the
I
use
did
of their
see that.
name.
Gavin
that was
Newsom-
signed on their
Yes,
signed
he
on
Yeah,
signed the
sign
bill
the bill
on their show.
on their show. And so now you take every one of those college athletes and you open up this platform to each one of them who now have the ability
It's
to use
amazing.
their name and likeness. Like we're
It's a-
going to
well-
see so many of
These guys
these
are way ahead of
exploding.
it.
Yeah.
You think LeBron James calls you and says, "Hey, I think you should sign that bill on my show." You're like, "Sweet, LeBron, I'll be right there. No problem.
Yeah.
Here I come."
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Now, story number 4, though, is even crazier.
Well, story number 4 is one of my favorite topics, obviously, Instagram and shopping slamming together. So Instagram's piloting a new product. It's called Instant Product
for and
Launch
fun.
Notification Service, enabling consumers to step up automatic reminders about upcoming product releases through Instagram shopping. So the product is actually launched through an Instagram sticker or through a button on the actual feed. But what it allows people to do is it allows people to set up a reminder to get a notification when the product is actually available for purchase. Now, this is genius on a couple different sides. From a consumer standpoint, it's really amazing because now I don't have to remember that, hey, tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., that product that I really want is going to be available. So I better be on the app ready to go, even though I probably already am, thanks to Instagram's usage rates, right? But from a shopping standpoint, this is absolutely incredible. Instagram is utilizing kind of this trend in drops and scarcity, and they're building products around it, allowing people who are selling on the platform to not only trigger tons of sales or an avalanche of sales from a consumer, but Instagram now has a reason for people to come back onto the app in moments where they might not be actually interacting with them. So think of the capability that is going to, or really the opportunity that will come into play now that you're really having this meaningful trigger to jump back into the platform when you might not already be.
So scale of 1 to 10, Carter, how cool is this?
I wouldn't say it's cool. Here's the thing.
Okay.
It's not flashy. It's a very basic concept. Like it's just a notification.
That basic works.
The point being, though, is it works. And we see the consistent or the continued movement towards more and more shopping features.
Yep.
And unlocking just little things like this means huge things for some of their, I think Nike and Adidas are both part of the pilot program. I mean, think about shoe drops. Like if we go back to story number 3, all of a sudden now, like why would you drop it anywhere else? Like why would you drop a product anywhere else? You have everything you need on Instagram. You have saved payment information. You're fulfilling through Instagram. You're advertising through them, so you're doing paid media. And every single person who signed up for a drop notification is going to get it at the same time, making this what was once a physical footprint or physical stores kind of golden age of drops now is going to happen all on Instagram, a platform that their fans know and love and live on 3 to 4 hours a day.
So, Carter, not being as cool as you are, and not like the last thing I think I tried to go online for to buy was concert tickets, and that was a long time ago. What does this do though for the whole drop concept? Like if now those cool people who knew about a sneaker drop and there's only 150 pairs of sneakers, like, are those people gonna be like, well, this sucks, now there's 500,000 people that know about it, or is it just an opportunity for brands to put out more? Like what happens to the drop culture now that this is being like democratized across Instagram?
I think I think each brand will probably play that in a way that they would like.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying is like we used to launch 150 pairs in New York and LA and Miami, but now all of a sudden a bunch of kids in Tennessee potentially are going to get all the shoes.
Yeah.
I think though when you look at brands spreading beyond like the epicenters of culture, democratization is pretty amazing. Now they have to be careful of how do you not water down, the true value of like, oh, the shoe is a New York shoe. It launches in New York. It doesn't mean they're not going to do incredible activations in New York City. It doesn't mean they're not going to do all these celebrity appearances and endorsements and all that kind of stuff. But what you're doing is you're making the act of actually purchasing those drops something that is just a couple taps away on a platform that they know and love, and not a Delta flight to New York City to try to get those shoes.
Well, and you have to look at it not as a point in time too. I think I'd say from our experience as retailers, what I think about this too is that data actually over time becomes inherently better and more valuable too. So every time you try to do this, how many people are signing up to get notified of the drop. So then you get a better idea from an inventory forecasting perspective, how big is big as you do these different types of things, which that type of data still is kind of ephemeral because you don't know exactly. You have people that are interested, but are they casually interested? Are they really interested? Like this gives you a little bit of a better estimation of all that. This happened to me, by the way. I remember telling you, Neil.
You're not cool enough to get a
Neil,
drop.
who's no longer here and got no longer. He's off on his next adventure, but hope he's doing well. You guys made fun of me because there was a Nike shoe, an Air Jordan that I wanted to buy, that I missed the timing on, and thankfully I didn't buy it because you guys talked me out of it after I showed it to you. But had this been available, that shoe would probably be on my foot right now. So that makes me think it's cool.
Okay.
All right.
That's fair.
Story number 5.
Let's close us out with what else? The Kardashians. The Kardashians are launching today, on Friday, a business to sell clothes from their own closets as resale. The resale market has expanded, but Kardashian Closet, obviously spelled closet with a K, will allow shoppers to purchase used items from the closets of the Kardashians through their new online store. They've released a couple of items in advance of this drop. I used to use drop. They've dropped a couple of the items on Instagram, so they have a whole Instagram account dedicated to highlighting the items that they'll be selling. But the first few items, do you guys care what they are? Or are you just
course
like
we
not
do.
100%.
interested?
I care.
One
course
of
we do.
Kris Jenner's Gucci handbags. That is beautiful.
Is it?
And athletic set from Kith,
Ooh,
which I
Kith.
know Chris is going to be on there trying to get.
I like Kith. Kith's a cool store.
And a pair of off-white boots who Emma the intern just introduced the brand to Chris yesterday also.
Nice.
So
nice. Yeah, dude.
those are a few of
Emma
the
the
items you
intern,
can buy.
3 name drops already.
I
and
know.
Yeah, she's making
on
moves.
day 2.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So is the store through an actual commerce, like an e-commerce store, or like is it through Instagram, or how are they actually selling
Right
the
now
products?
it's through Instagram. Their stores, they have an Instagram page.
So
Their store.
the narrative continues here. It's like, why would you ever go to a different platform when you're able to do everything, especially when the Kardashians have like such an iconic, let's say, influence on the Instagram world?
Yeah.
Like, why the heck would you spin up another shop when you can actually just make a couple $100,000 casually taking pictures in your closet?
Yeah, so smart. I mean, people will want to buy the Kardashians
so
items
smart.
for various reasons, whether they like fashion or other things we probably don't need to get into. But yeah, it's brilliant. I mean, there's a move going toward the resale market. We know that. And we were talking again, I'm going to say Emma's name again, but when we were talking about the stories for today, she even mentioned, like if people like the Kardashians and people with a huge following start getting into this market, like they have the potential possibly to give some of these established players like the Real a run for their money. I mean,
Yeah, if I'm the real, I'm quaking in my boots, no pun intended.
Right.
Literally on this story, I think it's it's fascinating because it's literally a direct vetting of the quality of the product that those people are standing behind. You could get into some games with this too. Like I'm curious how many. The Kardashians probably don't even pay for their clothes. So the cost of goods on their business for this is probably 0. And that's probably true of almost any celebrity. So, like, holy crap, if this works and they get the technology to stand this up quickly for anybody, this thing could explode.
Well, I think that's the question is how will
Explode.
this continue to expand? And we all know that it will continue to expand, but in
Yeah.
what direction? But imagine just from an endorsement standpoint, it's like instead of just endorsing it, why don't you say that you used it and it was from your closet,
Right.
right? And how, what a way to launch a brand.
Well, like the college thing you were just talking about, like game-worn sneakers in the Final Four. Now I can sell them the same way.
Right.
Like, and put, all kinds of provenance, bringing French back into it after last week, into the whole game as well. So, like, this is... these stories are just game-changing this week. Like, this whole social commerce idea that we talked about a lot, this is... Man, it's coming faster and more furious than we ever expected.
That's for sure.
All right. Well, that closes us up for the week. Lots of cool stories. This week. So, a couple of housekeeping notes. If you are interested in checking out Third House, we've had a lot of cool speakers at Third House recently. Just yesterday, we had Julie Kaczynski, who gave a presentation in Third House.
Yeah, Julie came. She has a company called Pitchwell, and the content will be available from that event on the thirdhouse.com site for our members shortly. But Julie helps work with everybody from startups to established companies, people within those companies who are trying to pitch innovation projects to executive leadership, for example. Did a really great presentation yesterday on some mistakes that common mistakes made in pitches, and then ways to quickly turn those around.
Yeah, absolutely. And she'll be back here for Startup Week next week here in Minneapolis, too. So if you're not available, that content is available online. We also had Sasha Martin recently. She talked about, what it's like to run a high-end fashion boutique in the age of Amazon. And, of course, we also had a presentation from yours truly that I've given throughout the country this year. So if you're interested in checking that out, remember, if you're a loyal OmniTalk subscriber and listener, you get a discount to our memberships. Just use the code FAST5 when you sign up, and you should be all set. In addition, we have video now of our Fast 5 podcast, as you probably heard us allude to, that goes live on YouTube every Saturday. So if you're interested in viewing or listening to our content via that medium, please check it out and do so. As always, remember to like, review, and subscribe to our podcast. Every difference makes a difference. Our reviews are definitely climbing, so thank you. In fact, if you're listening to this right now, head on over to the YouTube channel, subscribe there as well, rate, review it. It'll only take a few seconds, and God, it'll mean a hell of a lot to Anne especially. All right, and last but not least,
I need confirmation. I need
absolutely,
acceptance.
absolutely. And last but not least, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Trigo. Thank you for your ongoing support. Emma, the intern, great job first week. Neil, hope you're doing well too. And of course, from everyone here in the podcast studio from Third House in Minneapolis, be careful out there.